Hello world, Shelly here, and it's time for another review in 5 where I take a quick look at a product, give you guys my thoughts in 5 minutes or thereabouts. And today I am taking a look at a product that you guys requested in the comments, and that is the new Real Techniques, it's backwards, Blend and Blur foundation brush, and I'm going to compare it to the Artis Oval 7. Now, these are both paddle brushes. We're going to take a look at them up close. The Real Techniques brush retails for $19.99, and of course, you know, as with stores like Ulta, you can always get really good discounts on these brushes. They have sales all the time. You can get it really reasonably priced. The Artis Oval 7, you pretty much can't get it any cheaper than its retail price, and it retails for $62. So you're talking 3 times as much as this Real Techniques brush. So is it worth it? Should you spend the extra money and get the Artis brush? Or is the Real Techniques gonna do your thing and be just fine at the $20 price point or less? Let's take a look at these brushes and find out. Okay, let's take a look at these two brushes side by side. First up, the brush heads. They're about the same size, and I would say the Real Techniques brush is just a teeny bit larger of a brush head than the Artis Oval 7. And if you look at the comparison of the size of the base of the brush, do you see how much more base exists on the Real Techniques brush versus the Artis brush? I think that is where the difference in weight is happening. This Real Techniques brush is much heavier to hold in the hand, and it's clearly weighted to the brush top. Whereas if I hold my Artis the same way, there's really no dip in the weight. It's about equally weighted in the handle versus the head. In terms of the shapes, the Artis has a slightly more pronounced curve in the neck than the Real Techniques. Although the Real Techniques has a bit of a curve, it goes the other way. It bends downward instead of bending upward the way the Artis does. So they are different in design. They're just slightly different. They're both paddle brushes. They're just a little bit different. Now, talking about the brush construction itself, the Real Techniques is black handle. It's a solid material. It's got the decorative logo there in the paddle handle. The Artis is the same, but here, now this is specific to the Elite mirror version, but the label is on this sort of white grippy material, and you see how much sort of foundation residue and dirt has gotten into mine, and I can't clean it off. It won't clean off. So that is a bummer. I mean, this is a really expensive brush, and it kind of just looks cruddy now that it's, you know, I've had it maybe close to a year now, and I just can't seem to get it clean. So that's a little annoying, and I don't think that will happen with the Real Techniques brush. So let's take a look at the bristles. Now, if you look at the Artis, there's just the slightest bit of a dome. It's really a pretty flat brush. It's pretty flat across the top. And if we compare that to the Real Techniques brush, I feel like the Real Techniques brush is quite a bit more drastic of a dome shape, and it's also domed this way, whereas the Artis brush doesn't have that sort of dome shape. They're both, I would say, equally dense and equally soft. They feel very nice both on the skin, on the hands, on the face, but the shape is different. Slight differences in the design. Let's take a look at how these perform. I have primed my face with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer, and I'm going to go in with a foundation that I know works pretty well for me. It is the Estee Lauder. This is the Double Wear in the new Water Blend, the nude version. This is in shade 1C1 Cool Bone, and I'm just going to do half and half of my face. We will do half with the new Real Techniques brush. We will do half with the Artis Oval 7 and see if one works better than the other. All right, here it goes. Both of the brushes have instructions that say to use circular motions and just blend the foundation all over your face. So that is what I'm doing. The brush feels nice and soft. It is a little tough to get around the contours of the nose, and the contour under my eye is easy enough, but when I get to the inner corner of my eye going up my nose, it is a little too large to really get into those tight spaces, so I'll probably have to make sure I double check that area using concealer. But overall, it feels lovely. I think with the Real Techniques brush, I have a really nice, smooth finish. This is just how well this foundation typically performs. I don't have product sinking into the brush, which is one of the upsides to using these sort of dense brushes, is you really don't get your product soaking into the brush at all. It's very surface, and washing them off is very simple. Let's go Artis. The Artis also feels very smooth, and because it's a flat top, I feel like it's a little bit easier to get into that sort of corner of the eye area along the side of the nose and around the nostrils. It's just not as chunky. But the one thing that I've always had an issue with this brush, not an issue, but I just have to make sure to blend until the brush strokes are gone, because usually I can see brush strokes and I just have to make sure to blend them out. They will blend out, but they're there, and if you leave them there, they'll stay there. Beautiful finish. I think the coverage is the same on either side. What do you think? Can you guys tell the difference between the two sides? I really can't. I think the finish looks the same. I think the application is the same. I think it's going to come down to personal preference. Do you want to spend $62 on a brush? Do you want to spend $20 on a brush? Do you prefer the more substantial weight of the brush in your hand, or would you like something lighter? Do you have a preference in terms of the brush bristle contour, how they fit your face? Those are just going to be the things that I think make the difference in choosing one brush over the other, because honestly, I think they perform equally well. There you have it, my take on the Real Techniques Blend and Blur brush and how it stacks up against the Artis Oval 7. If you like this quick format and want to see more of these reviews, give me a thumbs up down below. I'll keep on making them. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.